holes in the couch, but you're not supposed to keep like that. Ain't nobody here to see us, though. Will be. There'll be Polly and her aunt coming back from the hospital in Mobile. Think she'll be walking? She's been at our hospital for a good long time. If she don't come back walking, she better come back a doctor. It's got the steering wheel all backwards.
Good afternoon. I wonder, could you tell me, am I on the right road for Harrington, Alabama?
Like Steve.
Young man, I speak the language the way it was meant to be spoken. Could you answer my question, please?
Harrington's on about 3 miles down that way.
Fine. Now, when I get into Harrington, could you tell me, please, the way I can reach the orphanage?
How come you want to begin to the orphanage?
Because I'm the new headmaster, if it's of any concern of yours.
Oh, no! What's the matter? That was Miss Harrington with Polly. We're supposed to be warning people they're coming, and we can't say here they're coming when there they go.
I say, you haven't answered my question. Where is the orphanage? So much for Southern hospitality.
Go!
Polly, you've hardly said a word since we left the hospital in Mobile.
Been afraid to.
Oh, land sakes, child. Afraid of what?
That if I talk, it all pops like a big soap bubble. And I'd be back in the hospital with lots of doctors standing around talking about physical therapy. Seems like coming back's a dream.
But I don't know about a dream. But I'll tell you this much. There's going to be a surprise or two waiting for you when we get home.
What kind of surprises?
Good one.
That doesn't tell me much, Aunt Polly.
I know.
Miss Conley, I still think it's likely that she'll want to be up in a room. Nancy's up there getting that room ready.
Yeah, well, if that's what Polly wants to be, that's where she'll be. If she wants to sit out on the porch, she'll get to do that. The child's going to be wherever it is she wants to be.
Hello?
Oh, Lord.
Well, I just happened by because I got on a baking bin and I put up a whole mess of sugar cookies. I just thought you might like some.
You just passing by, Miss Snow.
Well, yeah.
Miss Snow, you live 5 miles away from here. You coming here to see Polly.
Oh, is Polly coming home today? Well, you know, that completely slipped my mind.
Miss Snow, last thing slipped your mind was Adam's last name.
Well, okay, guilty. Of course, I knew Polly was coming home today, but I'm not going to stay. No, I'm just going to leave my sugar cookies and I'll be on my way.
Miss Conley, I put everything on the piano.
Reverend Gillis, what is it you put on top of the piano?
Sheet music for this Sunday's choir recital.
Well, Reverend, that's all very nice, but there's nobody in this house that's a member of the choir.
I know that. I thought maybe you want to follow along.
Well, the rose bushes, Ann. You have to water them real good if you want them to come up right.
Mayor Warren, we didn't need any more rose bushes.
Well, maybe you'd like some sugar cookies. I'm sure you would after all that work.
Now, just hold on here, you two. I got sugar cookies I don't want, sheet music I don't need, and rose bushes we ain't got no room for. Look like a party to me.
I know every tree on every street there, all the names of all the friends I'll meet there. Feels so good to be coming home. Heart set open wide and smiles I'm used to. I could run Russian side bread, the new, every leaf and tree, everyone I see, look, it's really me, coming home.
Home. Whenever you feel beat, there's nothing quite so sweet as coming home. Home. Just put those cares on ice. There's nothing half so nice as coming home.
You may go traveling across the ocean through the sky,
But take my word, you're gonna come back by and by.
Well, it might not look appealing, just blood and walls and ceiling, but no, there be the feeling coming home.
Where people care about what you did, and you always know where the cookies are hid.
Take off your coat and loosen that tie.
Well, I believe I'll have another piece of pie.
Oh, just leave your woes behind and let that spring unwind. Now come on home.
Home. No matter what you've done, no one's a failure, son. Come on home.
Just phone ahead, say take my bed and light the light.
you'll be a new man when that front door comes in sight.
Well, it might not look appealing, just more than walls and ceiling, but nothing beats the feeling.
Coming home. Coming home.
Hey, they're coming upstairs, they're coming.
How long we got to get here? Oh. Maybe next time you could give us a little more notice. Just a smidge.
Polly! Jimmy Bean, you didn't write me not one letter, not one postcard. Of course, saving us, we had something to talk about when you got back. How's your legs? There's still somebody missing.
Not anymore, they're not.
Nancy! Whoa, Nancy.
Oh, now put that look away, little girl, now. You see, we alone. We're married now. This is my wife, Mrs. George Dodge. And that's George Dodge, Jr.
I'll get it. I'll get it.
When?
When what? When do we elope? Or when's the baby due?
Oh.
6 months ago, 4 months to go.
Yes, you see, Polly, we missed out on the wedding dress, but we're included in the diaper.
Miss Harrington, it's the phone for you.
Where's Dr. Shannon?
Well, those are troubled waters, child. We'll talk about that later, quietly.
Mr. Mayhew.
Mr. Mayhew. Yes, this is Polly Harrington speaking.
Miss Harrington, how delightful to have this opportunity to talk with you. One is always curious about those who one has met purely through a business correspondence.
Oh, yes, that's true. But you're here now, and we'll remedy that.
Yes, I'm afraid that's all too true.
Afraid? Is there a problem?
Miss Harrington, when you first contacted the agency in New York regarding a headmaster for your orphanage, it struck me at first as a wonderful opportunity and also a chance to see a part of the country that I had never seen before.
Well, Mr. Mayhew, this is still the case. I fail to see what the problem is.
Miss Harrington, all the boys in this orphanage are colored. Hello? Are you there?
Perhaps you would like them bleached.
I beg your pardon.
Mr. Mayhew, why don't you stop by for tea this afternoon? Maybe we could clear this entire matter up then.
Lovely. I'll be there with bells on.
Looking forward.
Everybody thought that Dr. Shannon and your Aunt Polly were real close to getting married, but it just didn't turn out that way. How come? Well, no one's really sure.
Fiddlesticks, no one's really sure. She sent him packing the day he turned her down about him running that orphanage. That's how come she sent for that fancy teacher from up north.
But didn't Dr. Shannon want to run the orphanage?
Well, I expect he did. But what he didn't want was for your Aunt Polly to run him. You know she can be a grinder.
What's a grinder?
Well, child, there are some people that gets in control and in charge of just about everything. And your Aunt Polly is sometime like that.
Sometime.
And some men, best kind I reckon, have a tough time dealing with that.
That's Dr. Shannon.
Expect so.
Grown-ups sure do stumble over themselves when it comes to loving and stuff like that, don't they? Well, there's usually a way of working things out. I mean, that's what happened to me and George. That's what I wanted to happen with Aunt Polly and Dr. Shannon. But it didn't.
Yeah, well, ain't many people make good music singing solo. That's for sure.
Hello there. Excuse me, I'm Dabney Mayhew. I have an appointment to see Miss Polly Harrington, the lady who funds the orphanage.
Yeah, Mr. Mayhew. You just come with me and I'll take you right on in. Okay. Miss Harrington, to Mr. Mayhew to see you, ma'am.
In the parlor, Mrs. Conley.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Mayhew. Well, isn't it nice to finally meet each other face to face?
It seems rather a pity to have come this far just to get fired on the first day, doesn't it?
You're not going to be fired, Mr. Mayhew. The school term starts in 2 weeks. The orphanage needs a headmaster, and you're it. What is going to happen, however, is that the educator is about to be educated.
Polly! Polly! You know what I got in here?
Good afternoon, Mrs. Conley. Good afternoon, Nancy.
I got something here that's even better than Detroit music you're always going on about.
Oh, I'm just fine, Jimmy Bean. And no, we don't need any help, but thanks for asking, though.
Don't you want to hear something that's even better than Detroit music? You haven't said a word to Nancy or Mrs. Connolly. You don't have to. They're already doing it for me. You want to hear what I got in here or not?
It's not a question of prejudice, you understand.
Agreed. Prejudice is not the question. It is, however, the answer. Fact of the matter is, you view the boys at the orphanage differently than you do those students at the private school where you used to teach. Now, whether that is because they are orphans or Southern or poor or black, it is prejudging. And that's what prejudice is. And it will not be allowed to exist, period.
Well, I'll do what I can, of course.
Mr. Mayhew, you will do what is right, what is just and what is fair.
As defined by you?
Yes.
And if I have difficulty with that?
Have you unpacked your bags, Mr. Mayhew?
Yes, I have.
Well, then only time will tell if that was a rash move on your part. We have a situation here, Mr. Mayhew, that we have got to make the best of. There's an accreditation team coming in November to monitor our program.
Polly, I brought you an extra blanket. It gets a little nippy this time of year in case you forgot.
I haven't forgotten. I can't forget about anything at Aunt Polly's house.
Well, Aunt Polly's house? Now, when are you going to start calling this home?
I don't know. That's what I called her when I was in the hospital. But it's not how I thought it would be.
Well, how did you think it would be?
I thought Dr. Shannon would be here. And they'd be together, Aunt Polly and Dr. Shannon. And they'd try to get Jimmy Bean out of the orphanage. They'd all be waiting here when I got home. It would be like a family. I'd be part of that family. But it's just me and Aunt Polly. It's not much like a family at all.
Well, it's just me and George out where we live.
I know, but not for long, though.
No, not for long.
It must be like a miracle, having a life inside of you.
No, child, not like. It is.
I want to be somebody's little girl again.
Poor little sparrow, nobody needs you. Is that what you think? Well, you're wrong. Lucky little sparrow, it's a wonderful world when you've got a nest where you belong. You've got a family, take a look around you, a family, can't you see? All the sisters and brothers and fathers and mothers, all the others are part of you and me. You've got a family, everyone you're near to, a family, yes sirree. Every butcher and baker and Baptist and Quaker and candlestick maker. Right where you are, you're a part of us now, the heart of us now. But someday if you travel far, you've got a family safe and warm beside you, a family, can't you see? When you make a friend and the friend makes a friend, growing and growing, never slowing to an end, making circles and ripples and spirals and ribbons and dangles of love coming true. You've got a family, a great big family, and the family
Well, this looks like some back-to-school activity.
Oh, Reverend Gillis, how are you today?
Miss Harrington, Polly?
Morning, Reverend.
Well, don't tell me you are out buying uniforms, too.
Uniform? Oh, Reverend Gillis, whatever in this world are you talking about?
Well, I was just down at Baker's Boys where Mr. Baker tells me there was a large order from the orphanage. White shirts, ties, stuff like that.
Jimmy Bean's gonna wear a tie?
Could very well be, Polly. This Mr. Mayhew sounds like a man who likes to do things his own way. I admire that in a person.
The Reverend King in Montgomery is always talking about the righteousness of man standing up and claiming what is rightfully his.
Well, the Reverend King in Montgomery is not funding the orphanage. I am.
Yes. Do you intend to stop by the orphanage and check out the first day assembly?
No, that would be too much like looking over his shoulder. That's not a good impression to foster.
Well, it's something to think about. If you could have only heard Dr. King speak, you'd know exactly what I was talking about. Well, good day, ladies. I'll see you in church.
Good day, Reverend. I tell you, sometimes I worry about Reverend Gillis and the people he's so impressed by. This Dr. King from Montgomery. Sounds like somebody who'll just muddy up the waters.
You could sneak
Excuse me?
into the opening day assembly at the orphanage. This old broken door down in the basement. Jimmy Bede showed it to me once.
Polly, a grown woman does not sneak.
And I guess a grown woman doesn't get into the opening day assembly. We look like men. I mean, I knew I had to wear a tie when I got married, and I could deal with that. I knew I had to wear a tie when I got married. I can deal with that, too. But this is getting out of hand. Assembly.
I'm not sure whether this is a good idea or not.
Mr. Harrington, if money leaves the house, it's always a good idea to follow it and see what it's up to. Now, he is spending your money, and you have every right to see what he's doing with it.
But sneaking in like this, it's not very ladylike.
Ladylike gets doors open for you, chairs pulled out. Being a woman gets you to places where you can wiggle and wail. Ain't life grand, though.
The gumption.
Polly, what are you doing here?
Same thing you are. Sneaking.
My name is Dabney Mayhew, and I'm going to turn you into men. Which brings us logically to the question, what is a man? Is it enough to be shaving or fathering children? The answer is no. There are legions of bewhiskered buffoons with battalions of brats who aren't men. To be a real man, which is what I'm going to make out of each and every one of you, that or corpses, a real man must be a gentleman. Please, be seated. Every boy here in this hall, I'm sure, will grow up big and strong. Will speak in voices deep and pure, and wear their trousers long. You'll all grow taller and sprout peach fuzz without much help from me. But a real man must be a gentleman. So here's what a gentleman does. When a boy becomes a man, his girl may become a wife. And before too long the family may
occupy his life. An uncouth, common, ordinary man may want to run or hide, but what a gentleman does is to stay right there and make sure that his family thrives. What a gentleman does! What a gentleman does! Even when it gets rough, he's a gentleman, 'cause what a gentleman does is stay. Now, that's rule number 1. But there are other rules to being a gentleman equally important. For example, though you want the best in life, you could be left behind unless you understand the need to stimulate your mind. A simple but uneducated man can sometimes earn a crust. But what a gentleman learns before too long is that education is a must. What a gentleman does!
What a gentleman does!
What a gentleman does!
What a gentleman does!
Is to learn all he can about being a man. What a gentleman does is think. He's a man you can trust. What a gentleman does is shine. A gentleman shines.
Hello, hello, hello.
We were not eavesdropping, Mr. Mayhew.
I'm sure you weren't eavesdropping, madam. That only involves listening. You were listening and watching.
She was taking care of business.
She was taking care of my business, which I am perfectly capable of doing myself.
That remains to be seen.
And if it's there to be seen, madam, I have no doubt that you will be there to see it. That's what spies do, isn't it?
What we were doing was not spying.
Then what would you call it?
Previews of coming attractions.
Mrs. Conway.
What?
We were spying.
And it's a good thing that we were.
Mr. Mayhew, I apologize for doing anything that might seem underhanded, but I am sure that you can understand the reason for my concern.
Can you understand the reason for mine?
I am not certain that I do.
Item. The academic accreditation tests in November were not mentioned until I got here. Item. Neither was I told that these tests would take place during Thanksgiving week, a time of utter turmoil and confusion. Item. There are city elections during that week. The orphanage assembly hall is one of the polling stations. Another complication in an already complicated time. In short, madam, I have my work cut out for me. And prying eyes won't make it any easier.
Mr. Mayhew, there will be no need for prying eyes in the future if you would just call us over from time to time so that we can bear witness to this miracle.
Amen to that.
I'll do my very best to remember them, madam.
Thank you. Very good. Well, it seems that we have come to an understanding.
Hardly an understanding. Shall we say an agreement? And we'll leave it at that.
Oh, no, we won't, Mr. Mayhew. Now, where is Polly?
Here he is. Elvis Presley. Whiter than a waltz. Oh, Mayhew was right. He's still a good singer. We'll never see him. Singers like him never come to Harrington. Just places like Atlanta. Dr. Shannon's in Atlanta. Girl, he wasn't talking about no old Dr. Shannon. Talking about Elvis Presley and singing. Elvis Presley doesn't matter, Dr. Shannon does. Elvis Presley don't matter. People calling him the king. All he can do is make you like a song and tap your toes. He can't put a family together.
What are you talking about? Who can't put a family together?
Elvis Presley.
Of course not, dear. He's just an entertainer. Do come along, Polly.
Maybe Elvis is a big show business star that knows how to wiggle around. But there isn't anybody in this world more important to you than Dr. Shannon. If you haven't figured that out by now, he must be dumber than a post. That's all there is to that. She always talk like that. She's a girl. You can't expect to catch him right off. You know, they're like tests. You never could pass. Sounds to me like it's going to be a pretty exciting time. With tests, elections, and Thanksgiving. I'll bet he'll be back in time for that.
You bet who'll be back?
Dr. Shannon. He won't stay in Atlanta with all that excitement going on. Would he?
Well, it's hard to say, dear. I'm sure he has a very busy schedule.
Well, what is he doing down in Atlanta anyway?
I guess he's still teaching music at that college.
But he's such a good citizen. He'll be back in time to vote.
Well, I'm sure he'll vote, but probably by absentee. Just drop it in the mail and have done with it.
Vote for who, though? What are you talking about?
Well, 4 years ago, we were on one side of the creek, and most white folks were on the other. We had Mayor Warren, and they had the Mayor Rutledge, and, well, now the bridge is up again, and the town is one, and, well, we got two mayors. I just hope we're not heading for some kind of trouble.
We can't let anything happen to everything that we've built up. It's just too important. We have to hold on to what we have. We just have to.
Of course, personally, I favored Senator Kefauver. Such a pleasant man. Such a nice smile. But then they nominated Stevenson, and I threw up my hands. Bald, divorced, kiss of death.
You don't think the people here would vote for Eisenhower, do you?
The South vote for Republican? Why, Llewellyn. No, that'll be the day.
I'd vote for one. John Wayne. I'd vote for him right now.
You'd vote for an actor? Men would come in little white coats and cart you away.
Miss Snow? Excuse me.
Miss Harrington, I believe you know Miss Beamer and Miss Clayton.
Yes, nice to see you. Miss Snow, I was wondering if we could talk.
Well, from the expression on your face, it must be pretty serious. Sit down.
Thank you. I'm not really sure. I was talking to the young lady who's working in my house, Nancy Palmer. Nancy Dodds. Keep forgetting, she's Mrs. George Dodds now.
Oh, I know him. He works for the mayor. Mayor Rutledge runs the auto repair shop, and George Dodds works for him.
Mrs. Clayton, that is exactly my point. George Dodds works for a mayor, not the mayor. One of the mayors that got elected when Harrington was two towns. You had Mayor Rutledge, we had Mayor Warren. But now Harrington is one town. And there's an election coming soon, and I'm worried about what that might do to us all.
Well, I don't think there's going to be any problem.
Really? You think we've come that far?
Well, I certainly hope so.
I think the mere fact that your Mayor Warren is going to run will serve as a symbol to show everybody.
But Mayor Warren's candidacy is more than a symbol. Bear in mind, he might win.
Well, Miss Harrington has a point, Ada. I mean, fond as I am of Mayor Rutledge, Mayor Warren has a very good chance of winning.
Oh, I'm sure he does.
You sound as if you don't take this quite seriously.
Well, if Mayor Warren actually won, yes, I'd take that seriously. Very seriously.
And why is that?
Because Mayor Rutledge is a man who is concerned with fiscal responsibility, and he'll do whatever it takes to balance the city's budget.
And what does that mean, whatever it takes?
Well, I've been told that there's talk of subdividing the area just that side of the town square.
Just that side of the town square is where the orphanage is.
As I said, whatever it takes.
Miss Harrington was there, and she heard the woman say it. And there are plenty more around that think just like her.
I think Mrs. Clayton was making a joke, and Miss Harrington badly misunderstood what was meant.
Oh, she was not joking, Mr. Tugler. She was dead, serious.
Well, maybe she was, and maybe she ought to be. We gotta go slow here. We don't want to get things all shook up.
Now, listen, it don't sound to me like you talking about going slow. Sounds to me like you're talking about stepping back. I mean, I've run for mayor twice and been elected twice. Now, what you want me to do? Just step aside?
But things are different now.
Well, that's what I'm trying to get you to see. Things are different now.
Gentlemen, it's getting loud in here. Now, all we're doing is yelling, and once that starts, nobody is listening to nobody. Now, we've got to slow down.
Can I say something? Now, I've worked for Mr. Rutledge, Mayor Rutledge, for almost 10 years. He's honest, he's tough, speaks his mind. Now, if he says he's going to close down that orphanage, he's going to close it down. Now, me and my wife, we got a baby coming. And I want that child to grow up in a world where anybody who wants to run for mayor, well, they can do it. Black or white.
Man or woman.
Sure. Now, let's not get all half cocktail now, baby.
Dr. Shannon was here. He'd know what to do. I thought you said he was in Atlanta. Yes. But if he was here, he'd know what to do.
Now, the thing for us to do is to talk about this at church on Sunday with everybody involved. Agreed?
Agreed.
Now, Miss Harrington, would it be possible for you to lead such a discussion?
Oh, Reverend, it's much more your place than mine.
It is, but I'm going to be in another place. I'm going to the ministers' conference in Atlanta.
Very well, Edna. Anything I can do to help out?
Fine. I appreciate it. We all do.
Well, I might also point out that Mayor Rutledge has one of those black footman statues in front of his house.
Well, I got 2 plastic pink flamingos out in front of mine. That doesn't mean I hate birds with skinny legs, does it?
No, but you probably don't want them to vote either.
Dr. Shannon was here. He'd know what to do about all this election stuff. That's not why you want him back. You want him back so him and your Aunt Polly can hook up again. So it can be like a family here. Well, what if that is the reason? What's wrong with wanting a family? Ain't nothing wrong with wanting a family. The only thing is wrong is when you don't get it.
There you 2 are. Jimmy Bean, you're going down. How are you going up? And don't bother to say goodnight, because neither one of you got time. Now, get out, Jimmy Bean.
That's country talk, Miss Conley. If we was in Atlanta,
If we had pie, we could have pie and ice cream. If we had ice cream, now get, boy, get. You have something to say, young lady?
Oh, well, lay me down to sleep. Mrs. Conley, you ever been to Atlanta?
Yeah, it's been quite a while, but I've been there.
What's it like?
Oh, well, it's as noisy as all get out. Lots of lights, neon signs. Peachtree Street is filled with all kinds of folks. Greaser gangs and debutantes, fancy ladies, midnight riders.
What's a fancy lady?
Some we don't have in Harrington. We can be thankful for that.
Sounds like magic.
Well, honey, it's not magic, but a lot of folks there looking to make magic. Ooh. Good night, you.
Good night.
Noisy as all get out, and there's light and light and light.
We was in Atlanta.
Street is just filled with all sorts of folks. Midnight riders, fancy ladies, folks there looking to make magic.
then you can understand just what I say. Boom, rock, shoo-wah-dee-wah-dee, boom. Now all through the day, it's quiet as a mouse, but when the sun goes down, they go from house to house. Now if you want to see more, it's like a fantasy. So stop what you're doing, come go with me to Heartland. Let's go. Heartland. Let's go. Heartland. Let's go. Heartland. Let's go. Atlanta is the place where you set the pace. Let's go, let's go, let's go. See the pretty little girls all dressed in white. Boom, boom. See them tipping down the street like a feather real light. Boom, boom. They got elegance and style, perfection to the T. If you want to see more, then take a stroll with me to Heartland. Let's go. Heartland. 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 Yeah. Atlanta is the place where action sets the pace. Atlanta is the place where action sets the pace.
Harrington had been, but Osiris is gonna get blamed for it. You can just bet that poor Osiris is gonna get blamed. Maybe he was gonna make me wear a tie for the rest of my born days, and I'd have nothing to do with that. Don't go blaming me, 'cause I didn't have nothing to do with nothing.
And what precisely is that nothing you had nothing to do with?
Jimmy Bean and Polly running off to Atlanta. It was her idea. She snuck in and talked him into it. I heard it all. I had nothing to do with nothing. I swear.
How much farther, Reverend?
Just a few more hours, Mr. Mayhew. Y'all can drop me off at the hotel. Now, while I check in at the convention, you and Miss Harrington can start looking for Polly and Jimmy Bean. You figure you know your way around Atlanta all right?
Oh, yes, I've got a street map. And I also brought this, in case we have car trouble.
It looks like a school book.
Which is what it is. Introductory auto repair. We took shipment in last week. A boy will never starve if he has a profession.
Amen.
Mr. Mayhew, what Sarah says makes no sense. This Elvis Presley person isn't even in Atlanta.
Hey, excuse me, did I fall asleep there for a second? Why are we talking about Elvis Presley? I thought we were here to find Jimmy Bean and Polly.
Which we are. But according to Cyrus, Jimmy Bean ran off to Atlanta to get Elvis Presley's autograph.
Lord have mercy.
Well, I know it's a ridiculous reason, but at least it's a reason. Why on earth young Polly would run off, I don't know. Does she know anybody in Atlanta?
Yes, there's Dr. Shannon.
Why would she want to see this Dr. Shannon? Do we have any idea?
Yes, we do. And that is where we'll start looking.
Now, don't you do any damage to my man. I want him looking just as fine when I get back.
Y'all cut that out, Nancy. Come on, we got to get back to the house in case Mrs. Harrington calls about Polly and Jimmy Bean.
Yeah, now that's a fine figure of a woman.
Thank you.
I wasn't talking about Nancy. I was talking about Mrs. Conley.
Oh, do tell.
Yeah, well, you know, with this election coming up, it's always been to my way of thinking that the voters think more kindly of a man who's got a woman behind him, pushing him on to success.
Well, let me tell you, Miss Conley start pushing you, you're going to make it there. Because Miss Conley bring a whole lot of pushing to the table. Whole bunch of push there.
Like a low-gear John Deere.
She'd be more than a first lady. She'd be ladies 1 through 4.
Oh, yeah. George, would you happen to know whether or not there's a gentleman on Mrs. Conley's horizon?
Well, from what I know, she doesn't.
And would you happen to know whether or not Mrs. Conley would be interested in such an event coming to pass?
You being the main event?
It's a distinct possibility.
Now I've been unencumbered as I've slumbered through this life, but my single days are numbered. Is it time I took a wife? Shall I trade in delectable for something respectable? Oh, me, mercy me, oh, it's a distinct possibility. Well, now a big-hearted woman, they say, can save the soul of a love, honor, and hope. Then pray for parole. It's a fine institution,
and there's always execution.
Mercy, 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 mercy me. It's a distinct possibility.
Slow down.
It's time to smell the roses.
Slow down. You've been a busy bee. You've had your time of buzzing.
It's my time of cousin. A distinct possibility.
Now is it joyful to be married? Oh, let me count the ways.
Or just the burden that I've carried. Oh, let me count the days.
But soon I'll be a father. It's a blessing.
It's a bother. Mercy, 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 mercy me. It's a distinct possibility. Take the love you can. Make the love you can. And when the bloom is off the bride, then sing it like a man. Slow down. It's time to smell the roses. Slow down. And take a tip from me. He needs freedom. Women do need her. A distinct possibility. A distinct possibility.
Slow down.
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 Well, I declare.
It's across the street.
What? What's across the street?
The place where this Dr. Shannon teaches.
You come back in time for Thanksgiving? Well, you know how Mrs. Conley loves to cook? She says she can't cook a good Thanksgiving dinner. That's at least 20 people at the table.
That's what she says, huh?
Mm-hmm. I heard she was going to cook 2 kinds of dressing. One, the kind with the giblets, and the other...
And when you turn around, I do hope that I see a generous amount of shame on that face.
Hi, Aunt Polly.
Where's Jimmy Bean?
Oh, Jimmy Bean came with you, too?
Nobody came with anybody. Polly and Jimmy Bean simply took it upon themselves to take off for Atlanta with no concern for the worry and pain they left behind.
I left a note behind.
Oh, you certainly did. Dear Aunt Polly, me and Jimmy Bean have gone to Atlanta to accomplish some stuff. I've got enough money for the bus ticket, 2 peanut butter sandwiches, and underwear to last until Thursday. Young lady, that is not a note to put a caring heart at ease. Now, where's Jimmy Bean?
I don't know. I thought he came with me to help me out. As soon as we got to Atlanta, he went off on his own.
Well, we'll just have to deal with him later. Mr. Mayhew was waiting for us outside on the front steps. Come along, Polly. Goodbye, Robert.
Hey, Polly. You can't say goodbye.
Polly, would you wait in the front for me, please?
Okay, Polly.
And why can't I say goodbye, Robert?
Because you haven't said hello yet. It's an old custom. One goes before the other. Hello, goodbye. It's like a ritual. Besides, you haven't told me why Polly ran off.
I don't really know. I suppose that Polly thought... Well, we both know what Polly thought, don't we?
We know what she hopes, at least. But not everything a person hopes for comes true, does it? You and I ought to know that better than most.
You can't know about something that never happened.
It wouldn't have worked, Polly. I mean, me running the orphanage, it just wouldn't have worked.
Another thing we'll never know.
Yeah. It looks like you and I are going to be one unanswered question after another, doesn't it?
Don't forget the cleaning!
Jimmy Bean? No, you got some explaining to do, young man.
I'm here on a school assignment, a field trip.
Tell the truth, Jimmy. Shame the devil. You ran off, son.
You're right, and I feel terrible. I gotta get back.
What? Jimmy Bean! Jimmy Bean! Come... Jimmy!
So, at this stage, it's simply too soon to say. Whenever you're dealing with an injury to the skull, there's a lot that we're still in the dark about.
Is the child conscious, at least?
No. His respiration is good, his heart is strong. But the fact of the matter is, the boy's in a coma. Now, he could wake up in the next hour, next day, the next week, and be right as rain. But there's also the possibility that the boy won't wake up at all.
Can we see him?
Well, usually only family members are allowed.
The boy is an orphan, Doctor, which means we are all his family.
And Polly is closer to him than anyone else in this world.
Well, that may well be, but I'm sure you can understand our policy about children visiting patients. When kids have so many colds and sniffles and whatnot, we...
Just to make sure we understand what you're saying here, Doctor. You don't know when Jimmy Bean might wake up. You don't know if Jimmy Bean will wake up. But you're firmly committed to protecting him against the sniffles.
Can you hear me?
We don't know. Some folks think it helps to talk to people in comas. Myself, I think it helps the person doing the talking more than anything else, but... Well, we just don't know. I'll be back in a bit.
Jimmy Bean, sometimes I just don't know about you at all. We're coming to Atlanta to get Dr. Shannon back. Because that'd be part way to putting a family together. Because if a person doesn't have a family, they're not much more than a stone on a road. Can kicked along by any old brute that passes by. Putting together a family, I don't know anything more important than that. Then you go off trying to get Elvis Presley's autograph. That's not dumber than ketchup on cornflakes, and I don't know what is. But all I do know is, I miss you, Jimmy Bean.
And we need to stay back.
Coffee?
Oh, thank you.
We haven't met. I'm Robert Shannon.
Oh, excuse me. Dr. Shannon, Mr. Mayhew. Mr. Mayhew is a gentleman who is now in charge of running the orphanage.
Oh, really? Oh, nice to meet you, Mr. Mayhew.
Mr. Mayhew has also decided to teach all the young men how to become auto mechanics.
Auto mechanics?
Uh-huh.
Obviously not my area of expertise.
Mr. Mayhew, tell me, did you teach auto mechanics to the young men at the private school in Boston?
No. We concentrated mainly on the classics.
Uh-huh. Then why is it you're teaching?
When you say the classics, are you referring only to the Golden Age, or do you include some Rousseau and Emerson, some of the moderns?
In general, the golden...
Because it's always been my impression that the Socratic dialogues might be just a little too difficult for today's youngsters to comprehend, unless, of course, they're coupled with some of the more modern points of view. Say, Thoreau or Dewey, if he isn't too pedantic.
Clearly, Mr.
Dr. Shannon.
Shannon, you're a very unusual man.
No, sir, no. Not true. I'm just a man who has a desire to learn as much as I can. Just exactly the same as those youngsters you're teaching in the orphanage. That much desire, that much capability. The only difference is I have books that can teach me the classics. And they apparently don't.
Well, I see that everybody's getting to know each other.
Well, you could say steps along that road have been taken. In case you're wondering, it is not a paved road. Bunch of potholes. Bunch of them.
wasn't done. What did you say? Wasn't me that goes Dr. King. Dr. King.
You better get the doctor. Jimmy Bean's awake, and he's talking. Makes a lot of sense. And Reverend Gills, you have to take me to that minister convention of yours.
Why is that, Polly?
So I can finish what Jimmy Bean came here to do.
Polly and Jimmy Bean, please get in the back seat.
You know, it seems to me that spending a lot of money on clothes for a lady who is expecting is a lot like building Mount Rushmore out of snow cone material. This is not a long-term situation we're talking about here.
Well, since we are in Atlanta, we might as well shop for Nancy. And this way she can be the most gorgeous expectant mother in the state.
But it's like putting fancy clothes on a bowling ball, though.
Nobody asked you.
Morning. Can I offer anybody a lift?
Thank you, Robert, but we're going back to Harrington.
Oh, yeah, I know, but you got 2 more passengers going back than you had coming in, so I thought maybe I'd see if I could help you out.
To Harrington? You're going back to Harrington?
That's right, I am.
But what about your work here with the Board of Education?
Well, actually, it's the Board of Education that's sending me to Harrington, Polly. I've been asked to evaluate the academic work being done at the orphanage.
Home is where the heart is, Robert. I'm not sure whether or not I should say welcome home.
He's here to undermine my authority, and I won't stand it.
I'm here because the Board of Education assigned me to be here.
He tells me that you offered him the position here first. Is that true?
Yes, that's true.
Well, don't you see what's happening here? Once he sees the job is being done by a competent professional, he finagles his way back into a position where he can cast doubt on my skills, where he can pass judgment on all that I have achieved here.
You mean the fact that they can now change a tire?
Well, somebody's got to do it. What other reason could there be for your coming back here to town?
Well, that's a fair question, Robert. What other reason could there be?
I came back here because I've got a job to do. And I'm a man who likes to finish a thing once I've started.
Well, all I can say is it's not fair that my judge and jury should be the same man who will benefit from my being relieved of my position. And speaking of relief, where is your WC?
Excuse me?
Madam, I need to use your facility.
Oh, the bathroom. Yes, of course.
Glad we cleared that up.
Hi, Dr. Shannon.
Hi, Polly.
I bet it feels great to be back in town, huh?
Well, so far it's had its moments.
This way, Mr. Mayhew.
So, here you are, back in Harrington.
Yeah, here I am.
You know, there's so much going on here. It's almost as busy as Atlanta. Makes going back pretty unnecessary, huh?
Well, apparently that isn't what you and Jimmy Bean thought.
I know, but we came back because there's so much going on here. We have our elections, and we
I'm sure that Dr. Shannon already knows all about that, Polly. He has a way of keeping up with our little goings-on.
Are you going to be here for Thanksgiving?
I don't know, Polly. I don't know. It depends on how long it's going to take out at the orphanage.
I bet it will take you ever so long.
Mrs. Conley, would you please answer the door?
Mrs. Conley's not here. Mayor Warren took her out for a walk.
Nancy!
Nancy's not here either. George came on his lunch hour and took her out for a soda. Seems like romance is everywhere you look.
Excuse me.
Miss Harrington, I wanted you to hear this from me first. I didn't want any third parties getting it wrong and making any problems.
Well, that's an admirable notion, I'm sure. Now, exactly what are we talking about?
You haven't heard about Mayor Rutledge, then?
No, I haven't heard.
We had a fried chicken rally for him last night. And after the supper, he asked the orchestra to play, and he started singing Danny Boy. He loved to sing, Mayor Rutledge did. And when he came to the big high note, it was quite remarkable. He held that note so long. I just went on and on. Quite remarkable for a man of his years, or so we thought. Turned out he had a wishbone caught in his throat. He never even got to the part about summer in the meadow.
You mean he's gone?
Oh, Danny boy, we'll miss him so.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Well, as you can imagine, it's caused a lot of sadness and confusion.
Well, yes, of course it has.
I understand the sad part. What's so confusing?
Well, a lot of people think we ought to cancel the election.
No, that wouldn't be fair to Mayor Warren.
She's got a point.
Maybe we could just appoint Mayor Warren the mayor.
But one candidate, that's not an election. That wouldn't be fair either.
She's right. Well, then we'll have to find a replacement candidate. There's hardly any time.
You need someone that's smart, knows the town, and cares about people. I know someone just like that.
Hi there. Hi, Nancy. Hi, George. How are you?
Oh, no, that's very nice. I mean, how you doing, Miss Snow?
Why not? Miss Snow's nice enough.
Come on now, Nancy. Now, you know you vote for Mayor Warren.
Don't know who I'm voting for. Don't know if I did know if I tell you. Either way, I don't think I could complain. Mayor Warren wins, we'll have a black mayor. First time in history. Miss Snow wins, we'll have a woman mayor. First time in history. I'll be a winner either way.
Oh, now, Miss Snow wins, I'll be looking at a white mayor who never puts his feet up. Not much to relate to in that.
Oh, now stop it.
I love it.
Miss Harrington.
Hello. There's a covered dish for you in the oven, and there's iced tea.
Obviously, you have places to go.
Yeah, well, you're talking about my secret weapon here.
You know, I've been campaigning for a long time. I just never had a candidate before. Oh. We'll see you later now.
Have a nice time.
Bye-bye.
Fine day for a stroll.
Hold it. Where are you two off to?
Oh, we're going to meet Nancy and George down at the town square. George is going to buy us hot dogs.
That doesn't sound like a very healthy supper.
I know. Don't it sound great, though?
All right. But not too late. School day tomorrow.
Oh, Mayhew, every day's school day. You'll be all right by yourself here, Aunt Polly, won't you?
Oh, of course, child. I'll be fine. Run along now.
I'm following all the rules, the ones I wrote myself. I'm in control. It's something I do well, and all the pieces fit in this puzzle I call my life. But something is missing still, and I don't know why. What am I hoping to find? I'm searching deeper and deeper inside. I've always known what was right, but I can't hear my heart. I'm not so sure this time. For someone who's supposed to be so smart, I'm on the line. If I can't hear my heart, I'm bound to lose my way. I know that I'd be safe if I just knew which cards to play. But I can't hear my
everything in its place. I'm always strong. It's a habit that's hard to break. It's written here in this book. To thine own self be true. For the first time in my life, I don't know what to do. What am I hoping to find? I'm searching deeper and deeper inside. I've always known what was right, but I can't hear my heart. I'm not so sure this time. For someone who's supposed to be so smart, I'm on the line. If I can't hear my heart, I'm bound to lose my way. I know that I'd be safe if I just knew which cards to play. Deeper, but I can't hear my heart. I'm not so sure this time. For someone who's supposed to be so smart, I'm on the line. If I can't hear my heart, I'm bound to lose my way. I know that I'd be safe if I just knew which cards to play. But I can't hear my
I'm coming in there for you. Don't give me no back talk, because I don't talk turkey. Move over.
Who would you vote for if you was voting? I don't know. I love Miss Snow. I think it would be right to have a lady mayor. But I like Mayor Warren, too. So does Mrs. Connolly. And if he got elected, I think that Mrs. Connolly would wind up being the mayor's wife. That's a mighty fine thing, too.
Well, I know I'd vote for Mayor Warren for sure.
How come?
Well, Miss Snow, she's like taking the place of that old Rutledge who tried to gargle a gizzard, right?
Right.
But Rutledge, he's the one who wanted to close down the orphanage. Is she thinking the same way? Me and Cyrus and everyone else would be sent off to Montgomery.
Truth be, no. I can't send you away.
Don't tell me.
What can I do for you today?
I'm here to see Miss Snow, please.
Oh, I'm afraid not. She's right in the middle of the ladies' committee meeting. There's an election campaign going on, you know.
I know. That's why I'm here. I want to know if she thinks about things the way that old Mayor Rutledge did.
Dear heart. Why else would we accept her as his replacement?
Luella? Who is it?
Oh, nobody, dear. Nobody for you to trouble yourself about. Yes?
You tell Miss Snow that Polly Harrington came to say goodbye. And just so you'll know, Polly Harrington ain't nobody's nobody.
wonder who's grading higher. The students taking the test or me trying to meet the standards that you've set for me.
Would you like to make an educated guess?
I'm not sure that I've got one of those left in me. You know, when I first came here, I was told that the educator was going to get educated. That seems to be what has happened.
I'm afraid I don't understand, Mr. Mayhew.
Neither did I at first. But then I saw the way that you and the youngsters work together. The way they respond to you.
No, it's not me they're responding to. What they're responding to is a challenge. What they're responding to is somebody telling them the horizon is wider than what they can see out the window. Me, you, somebody wanting them to be their best.
Spoken like a teacher.
Well, it takes one to know one.
Well, it looks like we got ourselves into a pickle, doesn't it? And we did it at a time of year when we all should work extra hard at listening. You see, Thanksgiving is right around the corner. It is a time when we should listen to our families. We should listen to each other's hearts. Amen. A little something we can't do too much of. Now, that is why, at this time, I would like for you to listen. There's that word again. I would like for you to listen to little Polly Harrington and what she has to say right now. Polly?
I really wanted Reverend Gills to read this because he's a talker. But he thought I should read it because I went all the way to the minister convention with him after I found out that Jimmy Bean did not go to Atlanta to find Elvis Presley.
Did so? He told me before he lit out. He said he was going to find the autograph on the king. And that's Elvis Presley. That's what they call him in the magazines. I didn't say nothing about the king. You lie like a rug, too. I said I was going to see Dr. King because he was going to be in the convention with Reverend Gillis. And I figured he could say something good about Mayor Warren.
Go ahead, Polly. Tell him the rest.
Well, after the accident, I went with Reverend Gillis to the hotel and told Dr. King what I came for.
Wait a minute. You mean to tell me you had an endorsement from Dr. King and you just telling about it after the election? Child, that endorsement could have got me the whole...
He did not endorse you, Mayor Warren. But he did give me this. And Reverend Gillis thought I ought to read it with the tie election and all. Dear Polly and Jimmy Bean, there's a part of the Bible that talks about a coat of many colors. Now, I don't know what that coat was like. No one does. But I've done some thinking about it, and I've got a picture of a very soft coat. very warm against the darkness and the chill. A coat that can protect the frail and infirm, the young and old. Your little town can be like that coat, made up of many strong colors, each complementing the other, each in harmony together. I don't know your Mayor Warren. I'm sure he's a fine man, but I can't come out for him just because we're from the part of the coat that is the same color. For all I know, his opponent may also be a very fine man. That was when Mayor Warren's opponent was Mayor Rutledge before he got his chicken bone and sang Danny Boy for the last time. Just know, truth does not have a color and justice does not have a name. Have a generous heart and a courageous soul, and eventually we'll make this coat of many colors large enough to fit us all.
Amen.
And then he just has some stuff to Jimmy Bean and I at the end.
Let me see that, Polly. Dr. King goes on to say, thank you both for your bravery and commitment. I hope you can teach your elders how to care and truly believe. Signed, Dr. Martin Luther King. You keep working on this, Polly, and we're bound to get it sooner or later.
When will people remember that a river begins with a stream, that the smallest hope can broaden in scope, and someday turn into a dream, that a blaze can begin with a flicker, a sunburst begins with a ray, and the light will start in a child's heart, and the child will brighten the way. Oh, show us the way through the darkness. Show us the way through the rain. Won't you show us the way to that wonderful day when we all will be children again? Color many colors and brighter than the sun, making a rainbow, making a rainbow, making all the people one. There's a color many colors, making a beautiful dream. Into the sky with the rainbow that would never, never end. Show us the way through the darkness. Show us the way through the rain. Show us the way to that wonderful day when we all will be children. We'll be children. We all will be
Thank you, Miss Harrington. Thank you so much. Now, that is the point. That is it. The time is now. Yeah. All you people who who are thinking about changing the way you voted, now is the time. So we can have ourselves something to be thankful for. On Thanksgiving, we can have ourselves a mayor. One mayor for us all. For the whole town. Right now. Right now. Come on.
I'm switching. Luella, why would you change your vote? Because I saw the look in your eye when I told you that Polly Harrington told me to tell you goodbye. And I knew that little girl means more to you and is more important to you than any election.
Is that true, Miss Snow?
Well, I know elections are important, of course, but they only come around once every 4 years. But love is something you got to take care of every day. That's why I'm changing my vote. Congratulations, Mayor Warren.
Does that mean the orphanage stays?
No, it doesn't. Keeping the orphanage is all well and good. But as one who has worked with unceasing dedication to keeping it functioning, I can tell you there is too much work for one man. We need a co-supervisor.
And how do you feel about that, Dr. Shannon?
Well, co-supervisor means another salary, a bigger budget. You're going to need additional income. I suggest renting out the hall for social events.
What kind of social events, Robin?
Please say yes. Whisper in my ear what I want to hear. Don't make me guess. Say I'm taking the time, making a date, making the time to celebrate the good time. Baby, please give in. Baby, don't be late. Baby, please.